Sonic the Hedgehog has always been an incredible franchise, and one that has sustained its popularity over the last few decades. When video game movies started to get popular once again, many brought up the idea of a Sonic film. So stay tuned to today's video as we are going to discuss how SEGA approved the Sonic movies. First up, why the Sonic the Hedgehog movies got SEGA's approval. Both of the Sonic the Hedgehog live-action adaptation movies have turned out to be massive successes, but many assume that the first film wouldn't even get made in the first place. Over the last few years, the industry has slowly changed its mind on video game adaptations. Video games and movie adaptations haven't had the best relationships, as the vast majority of video game adaptations into film went down poorly. From the atrocious original Super Mario Bros. Movie from the 90s to even the recent Resident Evil live-action outings, they are just bad. However, Sonic the Hedgehog seemingly brought video game movies back to life when the first film turned out to be a massive success even after all of its controversy. The SEGA Senior Executive Officer Toru Nakahama spoke about why Sonic the Hedgehog was greenlit as a film by the publisher. These films are obviously based on the platformer and franchise by the same name. The Sonic the Hedgehog films center on the titular protagonist as he makes his way to Earth by bouncing between different universes using his super speed and electrical abilities to stop evil. He takes down Dr. Eggman in his quest to take over the world. Ben Schwartz leads the cast as he plays Sonic the Hedgehog in both of the movies alongside Jim Carrey as Dr. Eggman. James Marsden, Tika Sumpter, Lee Majub, Natasha Rothwell, and Adam Pally also round out this phenomenal cast. The first Sonic the Hedgehog movie launched back in 2020, and since then, the franchise enjoyed pretty favorable reviews across its two films so far. Critics praised the visual effects, action sequences, performances, and lighthearted tone from its cast. The praises mainly went to both Ben Schwartz and Jim Carrey for playing their characters so well. Though the film originally met criticism when the trailer was released online, they took the film back and completely changed the CGI of Sonic the Hedgehog. Originally, Sonic the Hedgehog looked nothing like his video game counterpart, as they instead tried to make their own version of the character. This went over poorly on social media and led them to pull the film before it released. They took a few months away and completely redesigned the CGI of the character, which led to praises from the audience. Now, the design for Sonic the Hedgehog and the other characters in the franchise are phenomenal and way more faithful to the original video game counterparts. Both films proved to be box office successes, leading to the currently planned Sonic the Hedgehog 3 to release in December of 2024, as well as a spin-off series of Idris Elba's character Knuckles the Echidna. Audiences are now looking forward to seeing more of Sonic the Hedgehog's live-action adaptation on the big and small screen. This prompted recent interviews with some SEGA executives sharing how the film came to be in the first place. How did the film come to be? During a recent interview with Pia, translated by Nintendo Everything, SEGA senior executive Toru Nakahama spoke about the legacy of Sonic the Hedgehog's franchise. He looked at both of the recent successful films and opened up about why SEGA greenlit the original Sonic the Hedgehog movie in the first place. He pointed to one key game that helped revitalize the brand within the Western audiences. This is what Nakahama had to say. "We had talks about making a Sonic movie because of Sonic Mania in 2017. Despite Sonic not being initially overly popular in America, he seemed to have rapidly gained popularity. At the time, Sonic was in an odd situation where parents were well aware of who he is, whereas children may or may not know him. So it was easy to imagine that if a Sonic movie came out, this would be a great opportunity for Sonic not only to be known to many generations, but also to areas where Sonic may have never been well known, especially considering that movie promotion budget far exceeds that of a video game. I thought it was worth joining in to invest in creating a Hollywood blockbuster. I can remember initially hearing comments such as, 'So many game-based movies have flopped, and isn't he caught in some sort of scam?' However, with SEGA Sammy Holdings starting, the spirit of taking on new challenges aligned very well with the movie production. It reminded me of the SEGA spirit of trying new things." How Sonic the Hedgehog broke the video game curse for movies. Just as Nakahama said, the franchise itself was in a very tough spot just prior to the film's development. This was because the vast majority of games at the time scored mixed to negative reviews from critics. However, one game, Sonic Mania, became the highest-rated game for the series in over 15 years and revitalized the franchise for many fans and critics. The game sold well over 1 million copies within a year of its release and was praised as a return to form for the franchise. The funniest thing was this game wasn't even directly made by Sonic Team, as they outsourced it to a group of fans who have been making Sonic fan games for years now. Fans remained eager to get Sonic back to its heights from the early days, and Sonic Mania did just that. Because of the game's success, it makes complete sense why SEGA would feel confident in greenlighting a film adaptation of the franchise. This was especially true at the time because of the after recent video game adaptations such as Detective Pikachu getting commercial and critical success. Despite many of its predecessors failing immediately, the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise has proven to be key to breaking the video game movie curse. Both films have currently scored very solid reviews, but the second film even outperformed its predecessor both in reception and at the box office. Other franchises as of now are being given sequels that should be releasing in the next few years, such as Mortal Kombat and Resident Evil, but we know that Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be the biggest yet. This adaptation of Sega's longest-running platform and is going to be the biggest mark in stopping the video game curse. Video game movies used to alienate their audiences and suffer from vast diminishing returns. Audiences are waiting details on the next installments, so we cannot wait to see what Sonic 3 and a spin-off TV series are going to be about. You can watch both of these Sonic the Hedgehog movies on Paramount Plus right now. What does the future of Sonic the Hedgehog's movie outings look like? Many fans are now speculating what Sonic's third outing on the big screen could be about. The second film left off with a trio of main characters finally being together. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles were finally together on the big screen for once, and it definitely opened the doors for a future of these characters hanging out together. If you didn't know already, these three are very involved with one another in the games and are constantly seen as a trio of characters. Because of the idea of trios, many fans assume that the next film will be about other trios in the Sonic universe. This is also especially true because this is the third film in the franchise, so it would make a lot of sense for marketing reasons. One of the biggest fan theories right now is that the third movie will be adapting Sonic Heroes onto the big screen. Sonic Heroes is a game where players can pick different trios of characters and go about their own stories. They are all eventually tied into with one another, and it's one of the best Sonic games to ever release. It's a fun favorite, and adapting this sort of thing would be awesome for a big screen release. Whilst the story may not exactly be the same, we could see Sonic 3 taking the trio of characters and allowing them to meet the rest of the cast from the game. This would also lead onto one of the biggest characters that could possibly appear in the next film, that being Shadow the Hedgehog. Many fans are expecting Shadow to appear in the next film in some shape or form, and we really hope he does. Though Metal Sonic was teased through the end credits scene of the last film, Shadow the Hedgehog might be introduced as another antagonist towards Sonic the Hedgehog. These films are ramping up with each never release, and we can't wait to see what the franchise of Sonic the Hedgehog will look like in another few years. The film franchise might even take over the limelight from the games, especially with the recent reaction to Sonic Frontiers on the internet. And that's the end of today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this latest video. If you did, would you please let us know down in the comment section below? It would be very helpful. Make sure to like the video, comment down below, and of course, subscribe to our channel with the notification bell rung. Thank you for watching today's video. Bye!